Hey, it's Kristen and Bethany here with Girl Defined Ministries, and in today's vlog, we want to share with you something a little bit different. We want to share a little bit of our story with you. Today's vlog is called Why We Gave Up Modeling to Pursue Ministry Instead. So in our book, Girl Defined, we actually kick off the entire book sharing a little bit about our modeling stories, and some of you may be familiar with them and some of you may not be, but we thought we'd take some time in this vlog just to share a little bit more about our modeling journeys and how that time in our life in our early 20s was really a huge turning point for us and actually deciding to follow hard after Christ and to pursue Him with all of our lives. So we want to share a little bit of those stories with you in this vlog.
So growing up, I never imagined that I would one day interview for a modeling job. Growing up, I was kind of like the kid with the super crazy hair, like never brushed, the really oversized glasses, scraggly clothes, just like could have been taken for maybe an orphan in our family. I just didn't really care about my looks or beauty. And then, middle school, high school, I was really into sports, honestly. Like I loved basketball. I was super competitive, still very girly, but more liked playing sports. And because I was tall and blonde though, I would get these modeling cards, like from a recruiter out in the store. I'd be walking in the store and somebody would come up and be like, hey, you should try out modeling. You would be perfect for this. And honestly, I didn't really put much thought into it because I was like, why would I want to do that? I'm playing sports. I love what I'm doing. But as I graduated high school, things started to change. I started to wonder, I did start to care about my hair though.
Yes.
I started brushing it. And I started to wonder, could I pursue the life of a model? As a Christian girl, someone who did value morals, had purity standards, things like that, I wondered, could I kind of live this modeling life? Is this something that I could pursue? I mean, I could make money. I mean, it would be fun. It wouldn't be too bad to be on the front of a magazine. I started to have these thoughts. So one day, I was kind of like in my early 20s, I decided to pull out one of the modeling cards that I had received. I talked to my parents about it. Kristen was there for that conversation. They were not a fan of the situation, but they decided to let us give it a try just to see if this is something that potentially could be a possibility. So I remember emailing a modeling recruiter and they emailed me right back and said, yes, come in. We like your pictures. We like what we're seeing. Definitely come in. We want to have an in-face interview with you. And I thought, wow, this was easy. Like, perfect. I'll go. So I remember I started getting really nervous, got all ready, started thinking like, oh, is this a good idea? I don't know. And I remember pulling up to the agency and then in my car feeling really nervous. I get out, I walk in, and I'm actually introduced to the owner of the agency. Jeff is what we like to call him. And I remember thinking, seeing Jeff and thinking, just something about him gave me this kind of creepy, weird, kind of gross feeling. Just honestly, the way he looked at me and the way, it was almost like I was like a piece of meat, like an object, let's see. Because as a model, everything about you is based on your outward appearance. And so I was already kind of feeling a little uncomfortable. So we went into his office. And then, I'm not kidding, floor to ceiling, everywhere, covering the entire walls were these pictures, oversized pictures of these models in basically nothing. And I remember sitting there thinking okay, so this is kind of what this job is about. All right, well, just let's take it one step at a time. So he introduced himself and then he slid some forms across and he said, okay, I want you to start by filling out this paperwork. This will kind of give me an idea of what you're interested in. And he kind of went over some of the specifics about the job and was just telling me it's real serious, everything about it. And so I'm feeling nervous, kind of shaking. And so I start to fill out the papers. And as I'm going, I noticed that the options for modeling, it was lingerie wear, club wear, different things like that. And I remember thinking in my head without saying anything I'm just not so sure if these categories are really going to fit with my lifestyle and what I want to pursue. Yeah. So as I started talking to Jeff and we were discussing the options, he basically told me that they are looking for girls who are willing to show all. So basically willing to strip down in front of the camera for nothing, because in our modern age, that's basically what you have to do if you want to get anywhere in the modeling world. You have to be willing to basically throw all your morals and standards aside because those are, old fashioned. You don't need those anymore, and you need to be willing to show all. And so I just remember thinking you know what? I actually don't want to do this. What am I doing? Where, all in my head in these 30 seconds, I'm having these massive thoughts and really evaluating my
where
entire
is this
life.
Take me? And
where, years down the road, okay, is this really what I want to be? Do I want to be a model? Is the money really worth it? Is the fame really worth it? What is my life all about? Is this the road I want to go down? Do I want to strip down for the camera and show my body to the world? Is this what I want to do? So I started talking to Jeff and kind of sharing some of the thoughts that I was thinking. And he basically told me, wrapping up in a nutshell, like, okay, you know what? If you are not comfortable stripping down for the camera, then I think this job isn't for you. And so I said, I don't think this is a good fit. I think I'm going to leave. And so as I was getting ready to walk out the door, he looked at me and he said, young lady, I want to give you a piece of advice. When you become confident in your own skin, then come back and we can talk. And that basically sealed the deal for me, because I was like, you know what? I am perfectly confident in my own skin. I am confident in who I am as a girl in Christ. And I don't need to strip down for the camera to prove that to the world. And I didn't say that, but I thought it in my head and I left. And that was really my entire modeling journey put to rest. And from that point forward, I never had another thought. I never wanted to go down the modeling world. I want to use my life for something more. I want to use my life to make an impact for Christ, an impact for eternity. And at that point in my life, that was a turning point for me. And from that point forward, I decided that I was going to use my life to serve Christ.
So unlike Bethany, growing up when I was younger, I was super into my outward appearance. I was all about beauty. I mean, I would wear like bright red lipstick from a super young age because I thought it was so fun. I was literally brushing my hair like every second. So on that front, we were polar opposites. And also when I was younger, I was handed modeling cards as well from recruiters. Like I would be out shopping with my mom, and I opened sharing one of those stories about this lady who came up to me and just was basically literally trying to recruit me to come live with her and to learn how to be a model from a young age, like 9, 10, 11 years old. And so from a young age, seeds were planted in our mind like, a model? Us? Like, we're just kids, but we could be models one day. But our parents weren't really encouraging us to go in that direction or pushing it because they knew the pitfalls and just some of the issues that come in the modeling agency and just the modeling world. And so they weren't really encouraging us in that direction. But as we got a little bit older, we started questioning for ourselves, like, I wonder if we could do this whole modeling thing. Like, that'd be pretty awesome to be called a model. And so as I got a little bit older, that question kept coming back in my mind. And I thought, I wonder if I can try this out. I wonder if there's a way for me to still be a Christian girl and have high standards and maintain my morals and be a model. And so I did some research and found a modeling agency. Unlike Jeff.
A different one.
And they claimed to be family-friendly, anti-nudity. Like, they seemed a little more conservative. And so I was like, okay, great. I'm going to, see if I can schedule an interview and see what's going to happen. And so we opened the book sharing about me walking into the office and having my first interview with Jessica. And we sit down, and basically, long story short, she offers me a contract. And I'm like, whoa, a 1-year contract to be a model? And so I talked to my parents, and they're like, well, I mean, it seems... it seems like it could work. Why don't you try it out? But as long as they understand, that there are certain things you're not going to compromise on. And Jessica seemed like she was good with that. And so I signed the 1-year contract, and before I knew it, I had this title. And I just remember thinking, in my head, wow, I can actually say I'm a model. And I was listed on their website as a model, and I just felt like I was so amazing. And so seriously, it's amazing how that happens. Yeah. And so... everything was great at first. This was just super part-time, so I would just do little jobs here and there. And it was kind of fun at first, but as time went on, the pressure started coming on. And I remember the pressure to compromise. And in order to get more jobs, I had to be willing to do more. There were times where she would call me and I would say, sorry, I can't do that job. That doesn't really align up with my standards. And she was starting to get kind of frustrated. And as time went on, I started noticing sometimes I wouldn't get asked for a certain job and another model would. And I would think, well, why didn't they pick me? They picked that brunette girl. Maybe if I had brown hair, I would be prettier. And so without even realizing it, I started questioning everything about my outward appearance, and I started disliking things about my outward appearance, and I became more obsessed with my hair, with my face, with having perfect skin than I ever had in my entire life. And I think one of the lies that so many of us believe, and that I believe too, is that we see models and we see really pretty girls and we think, oh, if only I were prettier like her, then I would be happy. Then all of my insecurities would go away. If only I were prettier. But here I was, a model, working behind the scenes with models. And that season, that 1-year season, was honestly one of the worst and most insecure years of my life because I was so focused on my outward appearance. And in the modeling world, your entire worth is based on your looks, right? I mean, that's why they're hiring you, for your looks. And so if you get a job, great. They must think I'm pretty. They must think I'm worth something. If you don't get a job, then you instantly start questioning all of your worth and value because it's not being placed on Christ. And so for me, that was really, really hard. And when that 1-year period came to an end and my contract was coming to a close, I was feeling so discouraged and wow, this whole experience was nothing like what I expected. And I have become so just self-absorbed and so obsessed with myself that I knew in the long run, I did not want to pursue that sort of life. I knew that was not pushing me closer to Christ. It wasn't helping me embrace God's design and identity for my life as a woman. And so I had to make a choice. choice. Am I going to keep going down this road? And if so, where's it going to take me in 2, 3, 5 years? Or am I going to do something radically different with my life? And like Bethany, that point in my life was a huge turning point. And I prayed and talked to my parents and sought counsel. And in my heart, I just knew. I was like, you know what? I know where this road's going to take me. It's already taken me places that I don't want to go. So I knew in that moment I had to get out and pursue a different path for my life. And so Bethany and I both, kind of around the same time, made the courageous choice to leave behind everything the world was offering us. You know, a career in the modeling industry, the fame, the beauty, the, you know, all the dazzle and stuff, the glamour that comes with it. You know, it looks alluring, but behind the scenes, it's so cheap. And in our hearts, we wanted to do more with our lives. We wanted to serve God and point women to His design rather than just to physical beauty, which fades so quickly. And so for us, that was a turning point in our lives where we really decided that we were going to turn away from the modeling industry and turn away from a career in that field and instead pursue Christ and pursue ministry and just honestly, just pursuing God's design for womanhood. And rather than pointing girls to us and our outward appearance, we really wanted to point the next generation and young women to God's amazing design for true beauty and true worth and true identity, because that's what lasts and that's what brings total fulfillment. So in a nutshell, that's our story, our modeling journeys. We share so much more in our book, Girl Defined, but that's why we wrote our book, and that's why we decided to say no to the modeling industry and instead to pursue ministry.
So after the modeling experiences, that really was a huge turning point in each of our lives. And we went on to study books. We read every Christian book that we could get our hands on womanhood, biblical womanhood, what it means to be a girl, femininity, all of that stuff. Because we wanted to know what is God's design for our lives? How can we make the greatest impact for Christ's kingdom here? Because our lives really are so short, and we were so passionate about it. And that the result of that studying and praying and, you know, talking about it together, because we're super close in age. So we had all those sister convos talking about where are we going with our lives. That really is what started our passion to reach out to the next generation and really to start Girl Defined. And that was kind of the starting point, our journey. That's why we start with that in this book, is because we wanted you to know where we came from, where we're going, and really encourage you in your journey. So we want to end this video by really asking you, who are you living for? Are you a Christian in name, but really kind of just living for yourself? Or are you really seriously living all out for Christ? Have you made that decision to not just be a Christian and have a personal relationship with Him, but to say, no, Christ, you're my King. You are the ruler of this world. I'm going to spend eternity with you, and I want to use my life to point others to you. If you haven't made that turning point in your life, like the two of us just shared with you, we really want to challenge you to get serious, to take some time today to think about that and think, what am I living for? Who am I living for? What am I doing with my life? And get really serious about it, because the two of us truly have never been more confident, more secure, more joy-filled than when we made that decision to really live all out for Christ. Honestly, since that time, these have been like the best years of our life, really, because we're not living for ourselves. We're living for someone and something greater. And we really want that for you as well. So we just challenge you to take some time today to think about that.
Thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to learn more about our story or hear more, because we couldn't share everything in this video, we encourage you to grab a copy of Girl Defined, God's radical design for beauty, femininity, and identity. Because learning about God's amazing design for your life as a woman, that will radically change your life as it has ours. If you enjoyed this video, we would love it if you give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from us, we post new videos every Wednesday, so you can subscribe to our channel below.
It's like you kind of forgot the names.
I know. To pursue industry. Okay.
You were kind of posed because you didn't remember.
I know. Ready?
Much better.
Is that better? More natural. And I had a deeper voice, not like.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't forget the next one.
I know.
College. What's next? No, I'm gonna start, and you're gonna get to the end, and you're gonna be like this.
Just okay.
That was way too long.
Yeah, I know. I already can sense it.
I liked it.
Okay.
No, I don't know what to say.
I know, George, you're nervous when you're in the hot seat.
When I'm not, I'm like this.
I know. Just like, okay, nail it.
Because
woo! I hope that all works.
Oh no, you're laughing at me.
No, I'm laughing at you.
I thought you were thinking I was doing a Donald Trump.
No.
3, 2, 1. Okay.